Hi, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to be talking about the self and what it means. We're going to be looking at ways that we can practice remembering throughout our day. When we look at the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, Patanjali talks to us about our mind and our body and our desire to identify with it as our self. We think things, thoughts, feelings, memories, and emotions. We experience sensation, and we identify with the body and the mind through which all of these things occur. Patanjali says perhaps that's a misperception. He goes on to tell us about the 5 mental fluctuations of chitta vritti, individual consciousness. He talks about truth, perception, verbalization, memory, and sleep. And he talks about how we can identify our perception and the verbalization to eradicate that perception and move into a more universal truth. Patanjali also talks about the self and the higher self, and we hear this concept a lot. We hear it in organizations like Alcoholics Anonymous. We see it in different philosophies, this idea of this ego and the superego, as Freud would say. But Vedanta and non-duality, they tell us that this is yet again another misperception. And in fact, that the truth is there is no separation. Well, today I've decided to illustrate that with my 2 best friends. Meet Big Yodi and Little Nodi. So Big Yoda is my puppet Yoda from when I was a child, and Little Nodi, you notice the name's a little bit different, this is the friend or the figurine that I asked for in addition to my puppet. When I was little, Star Wars had just hit the scene. I was born in 1978, so I missed the first movie by a little bit. But I caught up quickly, and my favorite character was Yoda. I love that I had the foresight to ask for the big one and the small one when I was about 18 months old. And I got them. The beauty of having these 2 figurines and toys is that they help to illustrate the truth of who we are. You see, we are being. We are awareness in which all things arise. One of my teachers is Richard Miller, and he talks to us about being awareness. Awareness in which all things are arising. And I'll never forget talking to Richard at a conference and hearing the story about his really establishing himself in non-duality and Vedanta. And he was talking about, wanting so desperately to see everyone as awareness, to see every being as awareness, not as the color of their shirt or their personality or the color of their hair, etc. It's hard for us. It's hard for us to identify as awareness. We want so badly to hold on to the attachments of the manifest world. But Richard said he finally got there one day. He got there, and he was sitting on his sofa with his wife, and he was just relishing in the fact that he had arrived. He got there. Now every single being was just awareness and an experience. Well, you can imagine that for a wife wanting to be separate, special, and unique, that didn't go over very well. Now, I think that this is fascinating and very endearing because we are all being awareness, yet we do attach to our perceptions, our stories, the aspects of being that show up most in our awareness, and our experiences. We attach to them. And it keeps us grounded and anchored into the present moment. Or at least we think it does. When we begin to ruminate about the past or we get stuck in the future, we are experiencing depression or anxiety, and these are largely a result of our attachments. My philosophy on enlightenment, self-realization, and karma is that all beings are born enlightened. The projection of society, our parents, school, etc., covers that up and causes us to forget. As we awaken into our natural enlightened state of being, we can start to establish ourselves in self-realization by practicing what we preach, both on and off the mat. Identifying, recognizing, embracing, and loving all beings as being awareness, knowing that the karmic threads of the physical body that they are currently in is nothing more than a lifetime or lifetimes of lessons, ready to be explored at any moment. The being awareness or pure awareness that is living and breathing each one of us is exactly the same. The body is the karmic instrument through which life manifests. So what does this have to do with Yoda? Well, it's great that I have this puppet. This puppet represents our desire for something bigger. Creator. We want to be with Creator. Now, sometimes that's mother. Sometimes it's mother, father. Sometimes it's God. Sometimes it's partner. It's whatever it is for each and individual one of us. We suffer when we perceive that we are separate. Oh, my mother's gone. I suffer. Oh, I'm away from God. I suffer. But that's a misunderstanding, because this higher self, this awareness, this being, is always holding that little ego. The body, the mind, the perception of the mind, the karma that we are living through is being held by being awareness at all times. Richard says, are you in awareness, or is awareness in you? Awareness is in all things, everywhere, at all times. It never takes a break, it doesn't have an opinion, and it is the fabric of our very being. There is no separation. There is no getting closer. There is no moving further. There is no advancement. And there is no doing. All of these things are misperceptions. And Yoda helps us to illustrate this. We go through our life, do, right, practice, practice, practice. But really, we're not doing anything. In fact, the undercurrent of awareness, that is the doer. I am aware of what is arising in my awareness. I, me, my, indicators to being, not truly identifiers. This is the miracle of self-realization. And as I told my husband last night, if we are doing it here on this planet over and over and over again, and we see people who are realized, real people, this isn't just a legend, a part of yoga that is unattainable. It's within you, it's part of your birthright. But if it's happening here, it's happening other places in the cosmos, in other galaxies. We can't possibly think that it all ends and begins with us. It's so much bigger. As you move into your day-to-day experiences, as you continue about your business, I invite you to remember your being in a human experience, and every being you interact with is that same being. Now, this explains a lot. It explains psychic abilities. It explains a lot of energy. But we don't want to put it into practice because it would mean that there is something outside of our will that is moving the show. The next time you think you're doing something, take a step back. Notice if the awareness The unchanging, undeniable awareness is perceivable in the background. And then ask yourself again if you're doing anything.